And they're just little tiny ones. I mean, it's not like this. I mean, it's not like, James Earl Jones and Conan the Barbarian here. I mean, we're we have a little problem. But apparently, one of our staff members was up wrestling one of the garter snakes just a few moments ago. Is she okay? Are we all right there?
I think the snake might be winning. I think I just heard the final ding, ding, ding.
Okay, yeah, come on. I mean, we need a more of a fitness plan here. It's a garter snake. It's basically it's a piece of wet pasta. I have actually done this show. I have been doing this show, and I've looked over to the side, and hey, that's a snake going through here. And okay, what am I going to do? I mean, it'd be the equivalent for you as the listener. It'd be the equivalent of me walking through a spider web on the other side of a park, and you just see me freak out. Brian Regan, you're welcome. There you go. Ah! You say, what is going on with that guy? Because you can't see the spider web. All of a sudden, it's like, here, let me talk to you a little bit more. Trump. Oh my God! Ah! And like Matt's having a conniption. We have a lot of things to get to today. Thankfully, no snakes. I am looking right now. Nope. Snakes. We are snake free here in the studio as of right now. Well, hello. One quick thing on the rapture yesterday. Someone did make actually a really good point. Are we sure that none of us qualified? Are you sure that, the powers that be looked down and said, nah, we're going to pass this time. There's no one down there. Nope, no one. Is there that chance? I mean, I don't think that that's nearly necessarily the outlier that we think it is. I know. Big fans of 1830s Christian fan fiction are just gaping and waiting and excited about the rapture. But it didn't happen. And by the way, I haven't heard a lot. Have we heard anything from that South African priest that was pastor or whoever it was that was insisting it was going to happen yesterday? Anything at all?
I have not looked, but that's also not an area of interest for me, so I don't know.
All I do is I think about Life of Brian and Monty Python. He's been taken up. Oh, no, he's over there. If you haven't seen that bit of blasphemy, oh, gold, just pure gold. And I say that as a good Christian man. 952-946-6205. So there is a bit of breaking news today, and it's about an ICE office in Dallas. 2 detainees had been killed. Another was injured in a shooting at the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement field office in Dallas on Wednesday. Authorities have confirmed the shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Citing multiple senior law enforcement officials briefed on the investigations, reported the suspect had been identified as 29-year-old Joshua John, Jahn. Jahn is how you spell his last name. The Dallas Police Department said that officers responded to a call approximately at 6:40 a.m. on Wednesday. The preliminary investigation determined the suspect opened fire at a government building with an adjacent building, the police said. 2 people were transported to the hospital with gunshot wounds. 1 victim died at the scene. The suspect is deceased. I believe it. Once again, I believe 2 of the detainees have died. 1 died on the scene. 1 died later at the hospital. The other victim, by the way, is in critical condition. The shooter fired indiscriminately at the ICE building, including at a van at the Sallyport where the victims were shot. 3 detainees were shot. At a news conference Wednesday morning, Joe Rothrock, the head of the FBI field Dallas, said the rounds were found in the suspected shooter contained messages that were anti-ICE in nature. If you haven't seen this picture, it's okay. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE, according to a post from the FBI director, Kash Patel. Now, what this is it's a 5-round magazine that you click into a rifle. Someone had taken a ballpoint pen and wrote anti-ICE on the outside of it. On 1 bullet, which was not used in the firing indiscriminately. Authorities say the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. They said they are not releasing the identities of any of the victims at this point, but confirmed that no members of law enforcement were injured in the attack. At the news conference on Wednesday morning, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, who represents Texas, said the politically motivated violence is wrong, adding that this is the 3rd shooting in Texas directed at ICE or Customs or Border Protection. Okay, I don't know if it was custom at that. It was definitely aiming at the immigrants. I see a lot of Republicans wanting to bury the lead here, which is the 3 people that were shot were immigrants. No law enforcement was shot. All right. Off the record, 2 law enforcement had said at least 2 of the victims were ICE detainees. Todd Lyons, the acting ICE director, told the network the scene is secure. Okay. So we're going to do what I did before. Now, once again, we don't know. I'm going to go back to the Charlie Kirk shooting. We don't know the motivations of the individual that shot Charlie Kirk. We do know this. Multiple law enforcement agencies have said they have found no connection between the shooter and any left-leaning groups. That they have been searching for this because that's kind of the way we're in the world right now. They're looking for left-leaning groups first, and they could not find any. That is, multiple law enforcement agencies have said that. Now, I pointed to the evidence recovered at the scene, which doesn't definitively say anything particular, but it did, as I pointed out, and I posted multiple stories on this, point to the Groyper movement as a possible suspect or an affiliation of the shooter. There's at least 5 bits of evidence which kind of pointed to the Groyper movement, and the Groyper movement, which once again is a far-right extension of the MAGA movement, who believes that Hitler was right and slavery should come back and stuff like that. They basically, there are many members of the Groyper movement who were calling Charlie Kirk an enemy prior to the shooting because Charlie Kirk was for the release of the Epstein files. So doesn't say that that the Groyper movement was behind it. Doesn't say that the shooter was related to the Groyper movement. But once again, you have to look at the observation there. Of all the evidence, that's the one thing that's pointed to most of all, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's definitive. I've said that before. I'm saying that again. Let's take a look at this shooting. You have a bullet that's found that says anti-ICE, but the 3 people targeted were not ICE agents. And by the sounds of it, this individual could have shot multiple ICE agents and did not shoot multiple ICE agents. And this idea of he fired indiscriminately, he shot 3 people. So I don't know how indiscriminate that is. But immediately J.D. Vance said, oh, it was definitely targeted at ICE agents when it wasn't. Kristi Noem said it was definitely targeted at ICE agents when it wasn't. Multiple people have said it was targeted at multiple ICE agents, which it wasn't. It was targeted at the immigrants. Now, here's where I will freely admit wild speculation. The first thing I thought is, was this a targeted hit? Was there somebody in there that somebody didn't want either talking to the government or something like that? I don't know. Might be easy way for you to cover up your tracks by basically writing anti-ICE on a bullet and going with that. I find it very hard to believe that somebody who is anti-ICE is shooting the immigrants. I mean, you have to ignore the crime itself to make that the real target was ICE. Well, by all accounts, multiple ICE agents were on the ground at that point, and it's not like they're all dressed the same. So here's the thing. First of all, the picture of the Bullet magazine. Okay, fine. I mean, if that's what you're going to put out as evidence, with the shooter dead, there is not going to be any investigation here. They're going to get the narrative they want, and they're going to run with it. And that's going to be the difference between this and the Charlie Kirk thing with the assassination there, where with their investigation, you are going to, you have a person who's going to go to trial. And so there has to be this searching for the evidence and finding out what happened. This case, shooter's dead. And it seems like they want to push this narrative that even though 3 immigrants were shot, that this was an attack on ICE by some left-leaning group. And my guess is going to be that's all this is going to end up ever being. That once they get this, they'll dot I's and cross T's and tell people, no, don't look into this any further and be done with it. I don't know. Like I said, for you to say that the ICE agents were the target, you have to ignore who was shot, because this shooter could have taken out multiple ICE agents and didn't. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I also want to mention, of course, obviously, Jimmy Kimmel returned to the air Tuesday night, calling government threats to silence comedians anti-American. He broke his silence about the suspension from ABC, which ignited national debate over free speech, an outcry over bullying tactics of the Trump administration. The show is not important, Kimmel said during the first monologue. What is important is that we live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. And that is, I agree with that wholeheartedly. He made another point, which I'm actually going to save for Stein when Jeff comes on the air. I want to talk to him about this because I think his point about him being taken off the air isn't really the dangerous one. There was another example of this that he put out there, which I agree is wholeheartedly far more dangerous. Of course, I will be remiss if I don't mention that the media empires that are pushing for this, Nexstar and Sinclair, did not air his return, although it was apparently monster ratings. And I think they're up to an insane amount of views of that clip of the opening monologue on YouTube at this point. Nexstar Media Group on Wednesday said it's continuing to evaluate whether it will bring Jimmy Kimmel back to its ABC affiliate stations a day after the late night show returned to Disney-owned network. This isn't talking about small towns. I mean, and as a matter of fact, Kimmel last night brought this up. We're talking about Seattle, Nashville, St. Louis, Salt Lake City. A lot of major metro areas are not seeing the Kimmel because of one guy or two guys at Nexstar Media Group. Nexstar is continuing to evaluate the status of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our ABC affiliated local television stations, and the show will be preemptive until we do so. Nexstar said in a statement, we are engaged in productive discussions with executives with a focus on ensuring the program reflects and respects the diverse interests in the communities. Basically, as long as it pushes right-wing talking points, we're fine with it. But if it goes after Trump anymore, since we want this merger to happen, I'm paraphrasing. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Find a wide selection of outdoor hearth products at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Whether you prefer wood or gas, Woodland Stoves has the fire to fit your home. Pizza aficionados know nothing matches masonry oven baking for capturing flavor and nutrition. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces can easily install one in your home or business. Enthusiasts use these ovens year-round for bread making, wood roasting, even grilling.
The mission and passion of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces is to make the fire work for you. The way humans relate to fire is primordial. We have used fire to warm our bodies, cook our meals, and kindle our spirits. Our team has the know-how to do this in a clean-burning and environmentally smart way. Visit our store and experience the diversity. We have over 35 working units on display at the corner of Riverside and East Franklin. See us online at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that fits and works for you.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hey, it's Mitch, owner of Junk Masters, your local independently owned junk removal team. We are not a franchise, and that means personalized service you can count on. Spring's a season for cleaning out the things you're ready to let go of. Whether it's one item or a full property cleanout, we handle it all, residential or commercial. You just show us what goes. With same-day service, upfront, no-obligation pricing, and a landfill diversion program that prioritizes donating, recycling, and reuse. Visit junkmastersmn.com to learn more.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
Let's make tonight the weekend. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. Got no reason.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Nice to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205. Let's go to Julie. Is in Minneapolis. You want to chime on in? Hey, Julie.
Hi. See, I just want to say there hasn't been enough talk about the success of late night and Colbert's show on YouTube. It's a smashing success. It isn't just last night. You know, they got 12 million views on YouTube. I've watched exclusively the two comedians for the last, I don't know, couple of years or so. And typically what happens is Colbert has about 30% more views than Kimmel. But in the last few months, Kimmel has gained on him. But a typical night might be Colbert might have 1.5 million views on a show, and Kimmel might have 1 million. And this is night after night after night. And when Trump says, "Ooh, they've got terrible ratings," ooh, he's living in a world before YouTube.
Well, now and Julia, I want to thank you very much. I want to just chime in here because I got to get a few other things here. But no, your point is exactly right, because I watch it like you do, Julie, which is I watch it mainly the next morning. And what I want to say is this idea, as someone said, is like the idea that these shows don't make money. When you look at how much they get from advertising on the streaming services and stuff like that, they actually do make some pretty good money. And this, you know, that is a lie that Trump said to try to justify his argument. Now, one thing I want to get back to here with these two, with Nexstar and Sinclair, I want to make sure we understand exactly what these two television groups are saying. They're saying, we're not going to allow you to choose to watch this on our networks. At this point, the narrative has changed. They're the anti-freedom of speech people, because we've always had an option. No one has to watch anything. You can always turn it off and go watch something else. And in this day and age, with, my God, you have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of things you can watch. No one has to watch Jimmy Kimmel. So you can put it on your airwaves and let the public decide what they want to watch. Nexstar and Sinclair are saying, no, we determine what you are going to watch, and that's just that. And that is where they are at. Let's not mistake that. Let's not disguise that. Let's not give them the caveat or the mulligan. They are choosing that freedom of speech is no longer your choice. It's their choice for your stations. And I'll tell you what, I sure as heck wouldn't watch those stations if they were telling me what I can and cannot watch. The minute that Kimmel came back on the air, this argument then shifted away from Kimmel to them. And they are basically, they're the ones saying that, well, if it doesn't push the narrative we want it to push, we're not going to allow people to see it. But, like I said, you fine. You want to be, that's the standard you want to put out there. That's fine. I can tell you this about these TV groups, these media groups out there that I've experienced, is they are generally run by pretty right-wing guys. And yeah, it's little things. I mean, I saw this years ago with some of these these media groups saying, we're not going to run that political ad because we have determined that it's unreliable, even though it is reliable because it came from a Democrat and it's a good ad. They don't want to air it. Meanwhile, they will let anything from the right go on their networks as far as political ads. This is part of the reason we're in the mess that we're in right now. We have a filtered system. So I just think that these groups now have to explain to the masses why they are against people having the choice to watch Jimmy Kimmel, because that is their decision, not anyone else's at this point. They're the ones that are stopping freedom of speech. Last thing here before I get to Stein here. Trump's tariffs have decimated U.S. farmers' soybean prices. More stories of this because, once again, this is getting crazier and crazier that the Chinese had just not ordered any soybeans from the United States at this point. The fall harvest has started without any orders from China, the world's biggest buyer of soybeans. American farmers are reporting record yields of crops this fall, but it's unclear who will buy them. The USDA estimates that American farmers are harvesting 4.3 billion bushels. However, there's no indication of where the shipments to China, or whether the shipments to China will continue. Most years, China buys more than half the U.S. soybean exports, but not this year. Brazil, by the way, has record demand from China from January to August. Brazilian soybeans, the new report says experts call the possible consequences of the trade deal has not reached this fall. The numbers are astounding. That, and where was it? It was, and this is actually from Brownfield. An agricultural economist for Advanced Trading says soybean growers are facing considerable market uncertainty as U.S. harvest gains momentum. Brian Basting says the lack of tangible trade deal with the world's largest bean buyer is unsettling. Can China make it through the fall without taking any U.S. beans? Last year at this point, we had 218 million bushels in the books. So last year at this point, we had 218 out of, and where was it originally? 4.3 billion. So basically, we're starting to get into the 5 to 10% of the total amount of soybeans produced in this country. At this point, should be ordered by China. They have ordered 0, and it's not something you're just going to roast up a little bit here and then have them as a snack while you watch the NFL game or anything like that. It's not. I mean, this is usually it's soybeans are mainly a livestock feed for China. That's what they use them a lot for. There's no real market for them here. Each week that passes without a sale gets China closer to a new crop of Brazilian soybeans being planted now. Here's the deal. There's a window usually where the U.S. does gain the edge over Brazil, and that window usually is about the middle of October to middle January. Whether that window is open this year is up a debate for a point. And once again, it should be noted, and as he said, that's the Brazilians, that they basically January to August. So that's kind of, okay, so the Brazilians are harvesting at that point. That's where most of the soybeans are coming from. They have the advantage over us, but we have the advantage apparently from October until early January. And that's why you have these sales on the books, is that basically the sales is 218 million, which should be on the books at this point, which is not their total amount. They actually end up talking about somewhere around 400 million bushels or 400 million tons of soybeans. They usually take a ton of this stuff, and they haven't taken any. Those are not orders that have already passed. Those are orders for future delivery. So right now, they're not even looking at probably any orders being fulfilled until at best November, early November. There's going to be a glut here. My theory is this, is the Chinese are waiting for the soybean market to collapse in this country. And when the soybean market collapses and it's down to $3 a bushel, and then people are just taking whatever they can for them, that they basically, down from $14 under Biden, that they're basically going to, they'll buy up as much as they need. And at that point, what happens to the American soybean farmer, I don't know, because I don't think it's going to be able to weather that kind of absolute decimation of the agricultural sector that it's in. Hey, that is ugly. Like I said, I have a bad feeling October is going to be a really bad month in this country. And it's sure looking like that. Stein, when we do come back, it's the Matt McNeil Show. Hi, it's Matt McNeil. Listen to the Matt McNeil Show from 3 until 5 weekday afternoons right here on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Step into a world where magic and merriment come alive. Discover fantastical creatures, behold thrilling jousts, and meet your favorite characters of old. From rib-tickling gestures to spellbinding performances, the adventure never ends. Make memories that will last through the ages at the most magical village on earth, the Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Plan your visit today at renaissancefest.com. Huzzah!
Hey, Francois, where are we going and why do you have so many canvas bags?
Salut Laura, on y va chez Nicolette's Macarons.
Oh, I've never been to Nicolette's store. They're just off Highway 169 and 36th in Plymouth.
Oui, ils ont 16 saveurs de macarons là.
They have 16 flavors of macaroons at the store. That's why you have so many canvas bags. I love how Nicolette supports small food entrepreneurs. Let's hurry. They're open afternoons, Wednesday through Friday, and midday on Saturdays.
Nicolette, c'est génial. Allons-y.
Let's go.
Hi, this is Mr. Brown of Minute Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are our business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 74. Tonight, clear with a low around 56. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 80. Don't miss Sasha Colby's Stripped 2 Tour, an electrifying blend of dance, storytelling, and drag artistry at the Fillmore, Minneapolis on October 9th. Listen all week to The Gailey Show and The Matt McNeil Show for chances to win tickets. You can also purchase tickets at thefillmoreminneapolis.com. That's thefillmoreminneapolis.com.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff. J-E-F-F, Jeff.
Jeff Stein's our national and presidential expert, noted author. You can find his books over at Next Chapter Books in the Twin Cities, of your favorite book retailer. The Iowa Politics Report, Iowa Business Report come to us from his mothership station, KXEL Cedar Falls, Waterloo, where he is joining us today. Hello, Jeff. How are we?
Well, I can't speak for you, but I'm tired.
What you are? What were you up late last night?
I am exhausted at trying to keep up.
Are you harvesting crops? What are you? We're working radio, for goodness sakes.
I know, but it's mentally draining. The headlines every day. I mean, it's just like, you wake up in the morning and you go, really? Do I have to get up today?
Rapid fire. We can go through them. Okay, so we did not talk last week about this, but of course, Kimmel, we've kind of come to the resolution of the problem that happened after the last time we talked. Taken off the air, clearly a threat by the FCC to basically remove Kimmel from the air. I mean, that's pretty undeniable. If you watch John Oliver's Last Week Tonight on Sunday night, he basically broke it down and said how you cannot see the attempted blackmailing of these stations to take it off is pretty clear what they did. They were just that they didn't think they were going to have a problem with that. But the truth is that he's back. He probably had insane ratings last night, although the YouTube stream is there. I don't know what they accomplished outside of one interesting side note is that kind of you are seeing where the line is for some of these Republicans, where some Republicans will go along with this. There are other Republicans saying, no, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. And if a person doesn't want to watch a TV show, they can always turn it off. And that's just that. And so it's interesting to watch the fallout of this because it did expose there is a line there, for, as much as it's hard to believe, but there is indeed a line for the Republicans, especially on some of these issues like freedom of speech.
No one has come out of this looking good. No one. And here's why I say that. There is absolutely no way an FCC chair should make public statements about going after station licenses.
Yeah.
I mean, that is in essence, a judge saying how they'll vote before the case is brought before them, because the commission is the one that hears complaints. I mean, if someone doesn't like something that's on this radio program and they file a complaint with the FCC, I am not suggesting anyone do that, but there's a review and it could lead to sanctions against any one of the 3 stations that carry it. Okay. I mean, if you start swearing a blue streak, et cetera, okay, you might have some problems. You cannot have, and I thought,
I'll play the accordion. How about that will get the complaints.
I've heard you play the accordion, and that is not anything we need to hear. That's not code for anything. That's just straight out the accordion. Now, Brendan Carr, when he was, all right, the way the FCC is set up, there are 5 members.
Yep.
And there's never more than 3 of a given party, so that yes, you have a majority, but you don't have the clean sweep. Okay, so there's a political balance. So when he's one of the loyal opposition in the minority, he's spouting off, he's acting like a pit dog, a pit bull, and okay, that's fine. But someone needed to tell him that when you then have the authority, when you are in the majority, when you are the chair, you have a different role to play. And I have, seen politicians who they do a great job. Now, I'm talking about politicians, but, they go through, and I remember one in particular used to carry, like nuts and bolts in his pocket and say, I got these at the Coast to Coast store. And that shows you how long ago this was. But if it's the Pentagon, it would have been $9 gazillion, and I'll fix this. And then they get to Washington. It's like, whoa, we've got these gazillion dollar nuts and bolts, and nothing happens. You have to take a different tack. If you're the chair of the FCC, you don't make statements like this that are clear threats when you have business before the commission, when people have business before you. So I am not at all a fan of any of those public statements. I don't think anything the president said on the matter made a difference to anybody, because, it's his idea of softening the turf. If he says that Kimmel is a no talent hack and nobody pays any attention to him, then why did you comment on it?
Well, and it should be noted that the one thing that you can take away from Trump is, because just Trump is Trump, he eventually admits the truth. And he said, yes, we tried to take Kimmel off the air. Yes, we're going to go after Fallon and Seth Meyers. We're going to do this. We got rid of Colbert. That they can't stop themselves from, he can't stop himself from admitting it. So basically, the important thing for him is that he himself is the validation that, as much as the rest of the administration is out there saying, oh no, this had nothing to do at all with that was ABC's decision. It's Trump admitting, nope, I'm behind this whole thing.
Well, now I'm gonna walk that back just a slight bit. It was ABC's decision, but it's because Nexstar, which has 38 affiliates, something like that, 20, however many affiliates,
and Sinclair.
Well, no, okay, but here's the first thing.
Yeah,
Nexstar is trying to buy a company called Tegna.
Yep,
which would give them this huge number of stations. They need the FCC's approval for that. So if you're Nexstar and you want sort of a waiver from the rules, you are going to proactively do something to appease the administration, especially when you know the temperament of the administration. So Nexstar does that. Sinclair, if you remember the history of Sinclair Broadcasting and the political temperament of their stations and the commentaries that they force their stations to run, their political orientation is right of center, shall we say. So you get those 2 companies that boycott. That's a quarter of the ABC affiliates carrying the show. That forces ABC's hand. I understand that Trump and Carr have been talking about, we're going to get ABC and their licenses and all this. The reality was it was those station groups, but what forced the station groups? It was the administration.
It was Carr telling the affiliate groups, you need to stand up or else we'll look at you. And
Absolutely.
and they knew that the case. I mean, ABC Disney learned a very harsh lesson. I mean, by the sounds of the cancellations to Disney Plus and Hulu, it sounds pretty obscene. I mean, they really kind of, the fact that they walked this back as quickly as they did and didn't really have reviews or executive meetings or, press conferences. They just said, okay, Kimmel's back. I mean, that tells you how much money they were losing.
And there's a backstory that says that they were concerned about how far he was going in certain ways, and that this last Monday's statements was pushing it up to the edge, and the station cancellations took it further. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. Now, he is Mr. Kimmel. Now, I remember him on the Man Show. I remember him on Win Ben Stein's Money. I thought, there's talent there. I don't watch these shows these days because I'm recording stuff for the radio at 10:30 at night. I just don't watch them. He made statements in that Monday program that I think you could prove were not supported by full evidence.
But no, actually, I'm going to counterpoint you there because as both John Oliver and Stephen Colbert did point out, what he said wasn't what MAGA was screaming he said. Even Jim Gaffigan said, go listen to what he said.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that was somewhat questionable was that he basically said that the shooter seems to be coming more from the MAGA ilk, which, by the way, we have talked about numerous times on the show. If I'm looking at just the evidence does point more towards the grippers. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying the evidence does point to that more than anything else. And even law enforcement has come on out and said there doesn't seem to be any associations with any left-leaning groups on the shooter. That all aside, that's a little bit sticky, but it wasn't what, and we have to make sure we understand that it's not about what he did. It's how they insisted what he said. In the same sense as when Carr comes out in the morning and says, they need to yank him off the air. And then he sits there and says, we had nothing to do with that.
No, that's totally wrong on Carr's part. I heard I listened to the actual, God forbid, I listened to the actual.
I've actually watched it multiple times.
Right. I thought it was ill-advised. I didn't think it was necessary. And yes, as a lawyer, I could find fact errors that could be actionable. That all said,
it's a parody show, though. It's a comedy show.
Well, but it's supposed to be a comedy show, but that segment was, he has made things political, which is fine. I don't care. His show.
If I can, though, as a lawyer, you're saying you're going to try to split those hairs. Well, that sentence was serious and that sentence was parody. I mean, the problem is even Carr himself back in 2022 wrote that parody is part of American culture and it should be part of the system. Back when people were ripping on Biden, they thought it was great. He was not doing a bit. Okay. But again, see, we're narrowing on something that was pretty insignificant. All right. That even in the light most favorable to my argument that he made statements that were not based in fact, it does not take you to the next level. It does not take you to see, and this is where the folks who were screaming about it the next day, very few people watch the program, relatively speaking. Yeah.
Who has talked about Jimmy Kimmel in the last 6 months until this became the cause celebrity? I'm not talking about whether he should be on, shouldn't be. I'm just simply saying this could have been diffused had the people on the right shut the hell up about it and not draw so much attention to it. Now here's the thing that I think happened. All right. I have no authority for this. ABC started messing its pants at all of what was going on, and they pulled him. And the reports are they had a conversation. He said, this is what I'm going to say tonight. And they're like, oh my God, we can't do that. That I don't understand. I don't understand how you not only suspend production of the show, but you don't even run a rerun? You put freaking Celebrity Family Feud on? I don't understand that. That is cowardice on Disney's part.
It reminds me of when Target had screaming howler monkeys coming into their stores to scream about transgender swimwear. And as opposed to what Target should have done, which is grab those people by the nape of the neck, thrown them outside, and said, if you trespass in our buildings again, you're gone. They all of a sudden decided, well, there's an argument on the other side. No, there's not. They just wanted attention, and you gave it to them. ABC, I don't know. I mean, I think it was John Oliver made the point. He said, you guys already gave him a $16 million check. Did you think that he was going to leave you alone? And the point is that, it's the proof is that you can pay this guy off. He's going to come back after you.
Well, and that is the point. And I know you're probably on a break, but here's the thing. ABC, no doubt, had those, what did they call them? Serious conversations with Jimmy. I think the serious conversation was called, here's how much you're going to owe me in liquidated damages for removing me from the air without cause. And I am going to own mouse ears from here to New York.
Yeah.
And that's what did it. It had nothing to do, because he certainly didn't apologize, and they certainly didn't care about the audience. But I think they were worried about a wrongful discharge lawsuit, and they should have been.
And someone actually did bring that up, and he did actually make some very nice statements about that last night, and clarify, to clarify, I think this case. At this point, though, looking at Nexstar and looking at Sinclair, the tide has turned. At this point, they're the ones stopping freedom of speech by removing it, because we all have the choice: turn off the TV. You don't like the show, turn it off.
But they also have the right as a private business to not put certain network shows on. And it doesn't have to be for controversy. If you remember, you're too young to remember this, but Pat Sajak had a late night show on opposite Johnny Carson. Didn't go anywhere. Why? Didn't get enough affiliates. Why? Because they were making too much money running local programming. So they don't have to carry everything.
And you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I think the problem that they have is now they're the ones who have determined that we're not going to give you the right to look at this, which then throws that First Amendment thing back at them and their cause. Jeff's joining us. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
The independently owned Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for your next book. The friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at making recommendations no matter your age or taste. Plus, they have frequent events including book readings and meet and greets with authors. And they sell more than just books. They have a wide variety of puzzles and games, too. So stop in and browse the store off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
So an atheist, a Christian, and a Buddhist walk into a church. There's no punchline. That's just what happens every Sunday at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis. Join us for Sundays Reimagined or live stream at firstunitarian.org. Looking for community without doctrine? Questions without judgment? Think outside the pew. Join us for Sundays Reimagined at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis or live stream at firstunitarian.org.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. It's the start of our favorite season in Minnesota, football season. With all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all of those fumble moments in your home. And as always, you can score a guaranteed touchdown with great savings from Zero Res this month. Carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. And this month you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129, plus $75 off an air duct cleaning. And don't forget about your dryer vent, too. Having Zero Res over will be a big victory for your home. You'll always come away a winner, even if the guys in the purple or the maroon don't. Call 952-0RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 74. Tonight, clear with a low around 56. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 80. Looking for a cozy neighborhood bar and restaurant in Minneapolis? Nightingale serves delicious American classics like their famous Nightingale Burger, ginger tamari chicken wings, and more. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with takeout available. Visit nightingalempls.com for details.
This is AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Jeff Stein joining us. Tylenol. Okay, so I'm just wondering, let's stay with the legal thing here.
Mm-hmm.
How does Tylenol not have a major lawsuit against the United States government at this point?
Because they've made public statements dating back to 2017 saying you may not want to overdo Tylenol when you're pregnant.
But that's different from saying, okay,
here's how.
That's different from saying don't take it. I mean, this is him basically saying don't go to McDonald's or don't watch ABC.
Like he'd say don't go to McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but now, and this is the problem. Well, there are many. If you read the stuff from the paperwork from the actual agency, they don't say don't take Tylenol. They say there may be, we have these studies, there may be a link, and so you may want to
one study. No, it's one study. If you go back and look at it, trust me, I broke it down yesterday. It was one study, and the one person said there's a slight increase in rates of autism in people that have taken Tylenol, but it said just circumstances does not mean causation. It does not mean it is. So there is no evidence that Tylenol causes autism. There is one study that showed this, but as someone also pointed out, there's a Journal of American Medicine study that came back that completely negated the findings in that, and they found differently. So right now, there's not like, there isn't a credible medical study that says Tylenol causes autism or Tylenol is strongly connected to autism. It's nothing like that. It's a one study where even the author of said study came back and said, do not interpret this as causation. It's not. It is separate. This is just an observation. And once again, the Journal of American Medicine, not exactly a bunch of hacks. They came out and they did their own study, and it did not show any kind of connection there.
So the problem you have is the president's statements are not consistent with what the government put out in its advisory. The advisory, to my knowledge, says you should not take it to excess. Because I think here's the distinction. If you have an extremely high fever and the only way to control it is with this acetaminophen, go ahead. But don't take it as a regular thing because of its possible. But that's the kind of cautioning that they have on acetaminophen products. And by the way, should have said acetaminophen and not Tylenol, because I have acetaminophen at home. It's not Tylenol. It's acetaminophen. When you start, to your point about why shouldn't they sue, any manufacturer of acetaminophen, you're blurring the issue if you say Tylenol and not say acetaminophen. But there are people who take this stuff like candy. And hey, I was popping ibuprofen like crazy for something, and woke up one morning, I ripped the heck out of the inside of my stomach. You can't overdo this stuff, right?
No, you can't. Ibuprofen, by the way, ibuprofen, I had the same problem. I had the kidney thing that was ibuprofen.
Oh, okay. Well, glad mine didn't progress to that. So, but again, because we are in this culture of let's just pop a pill, it'll be fine. And I do it. Well, I've stopped doing it because you can only grab the side of the toilet in the morning and realize you did it to yourself. At my age, it used to be something else, but now it's, hey, grandpa overtook his ibuprofen. So the thing, but this is the biggest problem with it. And it's the same thing you and I have talked about. There's not one cause for this.
No,
and you can't, and so you can't, telegraph this big announcement, because if you looked at the percentage of pregnant women taking Tylenol, Matt, I bet it's pretty small.
Well, and
this isn't going to fix everything.
As many doctors came on out and said, for God's sakes, do not, if you've got a fever, do not. I mean, there's far more dangerous to not treat a fever when you're pregnant than to take acetaminophen. Acetaminophen was invented in 1955. Autism has been diagnosed since 1919 at least. There isn't, and I mean, once again, I get that they want to go and point and say it's this. That's just not going to happen. That's just, there isn't some natural cause, and they've already, I mean, the numerous amount of studies into that have shown that this is just not something you're going to easily peg. That being said, for him, as you said, to quite plainly label Tylenol itself as the villain here and plead multiple times. I have yet to see anyone from the Health and Human Services Department come out and contradict that. I know what their initial press statement is, but then you have the president out there saying, for God's sakes, don't take this. At no point has RFK Jr. or Dr. Oz or anyone come on out and said, oh, by the way, I want to clarify some things the president said. By all means, you can take Tylenol. It just is, we don't recommend it necessarily. No one's done that because they're all so afraid of stepping on his toes.
I think there was someone at that mega news conference who said, not I'm contradicting the president, but stuck to the script of their release, but nobody paid any attention to it because the president Bigfoots it. I mean, for crying out loud. He did a dinner at Mount Vernon over the weekend, and he hinted and basically said what the announcement was. Then at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, he takes 5 minutes and says, we got a big announcement tomorrow. And I can't really tell you. Well, I'll kind of tell you what it is. It's like, you're getting ahead of your own story. And then it's the bullet points and it's the brand name. And that misses the whole point from people who might have otherwise paid attention. That's the problem.
Well, and then gets back to the original question. How much of a chance it would seem that Tylenol does have, it's not exactly meritless. They could have a lawsuit here.
Yeah. If their sales go in the toilet because of this, that's the damages. You have to show your damages, right? Oh, yeah. And so if you can show that nobody is buying Tylenol, but they're still buying other acetaminophen products, now get out your checkbook.
Well, exactly. And if that's the case, I mean, it'll be hilarious watching Trump say, I never said that. So yeah, we have a 10-minute video clip montage.
Once again, you get to bring out your Trump impression. That's great.
It is fantastic. Have a good week, my friend. Jeff Stein, once again, the Iowa Politics Report, the Iowa Business Report. We will get the Iowa Politics Report posted later. Thank you, Jeff. Talk to you next week. Chicago, Seattle, talk to you tomorrow. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Join me, Tom Hartman, where smart people get their news. The Tom Hartman Program on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. In Texas, a shooting at an Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility left one detainee dead and 2 others critically injured, while authorities say the shooter took his own life. Julie Walker has details.
A gunman with a rifle opens fire on an ICE facility in Dallas from a nearby roof Wednesday morning. Officials say he was shooting indiscriminately at the building and at a van that the detainees were in. FBI Special Agent Joe Rothrock says no law enforcement were injured, and they're investigating this as an act of targeted violence.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
Joshua Johnson with ICE in Dallas says this is the second time he's had to address a shooter at one of their facilities.
The rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence.
A July attack injured a police officer. Audio courtesy KDFW. I'm Julie Walker.
At the United Nations, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the General Assembly today with a warning about Russian aggression.
Ukraine is only the first, and now Russian drones are already flying across Europe, and Russian operations are already spreading across countries. And Putin wants to continue this war by expanding it, and no one can feel safe.
China is the world's largest carbon polluting nation. Today, it announced a new goal to cut emissions by 7 to 10% by 2035. It came as the UN Secretary General convened a summit of more than 100 world leaders to focus on climate change. On Wall Street, stocks closed lower for a second day. The S&P slipped 0.3%. The Dow dropped 171 points, or about 0.4%. The Nasdaq also fell 0.4%. This is AP News.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide, based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and skip the regular line at the airport and pay for speedy security. Imagine not having to quickly unpack and pack at the place you already came back to. And wearing your shoes the whole time you're there? You can't put a price on that kind of luxury. Well, actually you can, and you paid for it. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen dinner theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. It's the start of our favorite season in Minnesota, football season. With all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all of those fumble moments in your home. And as always, you can score a guaranteed touchdown with great savings from Zero Res this month. Carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. And this month you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129, plus $75 off an air duct cleaning. And don't forget about your dryer vent, too. Having Zero Res over will be a big victory for your home. You'll always come away a winner, even if the guys in the purple or the maroon don't. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 74. Tonight, clear with a low around 56. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 80. Treasure Island has set sail at Children's Theater Company. Join young Jim Hawkins and the infamous Long John Silver on an adventure packed with pirates, sword fights, live music, and heart-pounding action. Tickets are going fast. Get yours today at childrenstheater.org. Again, that's childrenstheater.org.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Wednesday. Good to have you with us. Of course, the Jeff Stein interview, always available. And when, of course, we re-air it here on the weekends on AM 950. So good stuff there. Reminder, sometime this hour, we're going to give away some Sasha Colby tickets. Sasha Colby was, of course, the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race in season 15. On tour, the Stripped 2 tour is coming to the Fillmore in Minneapolis on Thursday, October 9th. Tickets available at FillmoreMinneapolis.com, but I've got 2 pairs of tickets to give away a little bit later on. Listen for your chance to call in, and you can get those tickets to go see Sasha Colby over at the Fillmore in Minneapolis, 952-946-6205. It is amazing to me how determined the White House and ICE and all this are. The 3 people that were shot were immigrants. The 3 people who shot were immigrants, and one person said it was pretty clear that they were shooting at immigrants, yet they desperately want to turn this into they were attacking ICE. No, this seems to be someone targeting the immigrants. That's who got shot, and it wasn't like there weren't tons of ICE agents around. I don't know. You have to, for the argument to make sense, you have to completely and totally turn off what actually happened. 3 immigrants were shot. 2 of them are dead. 1 is in serious condition. And then the shooter killed himself. And just because 1 bullet said that doesn't erase that. That's what happened. I mean, there's always the person could be obviously mentally damaged. Obviously. But it sure seems like they targeted, as one person said, they knew what they were shooting at. Anyway, and I also put out the point earlier. I mean, part of me does wonder, was this a targeted hit? I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever find out, though, because they clearly want this to be crazy left-wing loon ball tried to kill a whole bunch of ICE agents and missed them and just shot immigrants. And that's what seems like this is going to be the intentional narrative of this. And like I said, the difference between the Charlie Kirk shooting, where you're going to have a trial there, this case, you're not going to have there isn't going to be a trial because the shooter killed himself. So whatever the narrative they want to put out, it's going to be the one that they're pushing. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We're going to spend the first few minutes here of this hour going through a crime update, because we've got a few that we've got to get to. Which, to a point is some good news, because once again, quality police work. And I think that's what we have to say here. First of all, we had the story last week where the football game at Matamidi had to be canceled because there was a lockdown going on. We now know more about what happened there. 2 brothers have been arrested in Texas after allegedly holding a Minnesota family at gunpoint, sparking a co-red alert in North Twin Cities Metro last week. According to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, 2 men, 24-year-old Isaiah Angelo Garcia and 23-year-old Raymond Christian Garcia, were arrested in Waller County, Texas on Monday. Both have been charged with 3 counts of kidnapping, first-degree burglary, and aggravated robbery. The charges follow a reported home invasion and kidnapping last Friday, the 7300 block of Inwood Way North in Grant, Minnesota. Where is Grant? Is that up north of Matamidi?
If you go west from Stillwater a little bit, that's where Grant is.
Okay, so all right. Okay. They're in Grant. Police received a 911 call from a male saying he and his family had been kidnapped by 2 masked assailants who were being held hostage at gunpoint in their home. The caller and his mother were bound up using zip ties and held at gunpoint with an AR-15 style rifle for several hours. The complaint says the caller's father was ordered to transfer more than $36,000 worth of cryptocurrency to an unknown account. Then he was forced at gunpoint to travel with Isaiah Garcia in the family's cabin near Jacobson, 3 hours away, to transfer more money, again in excess of $36,000 from another cryptocurrency account. So clearly, okay. How did these 2 knuckleheads know this guy had all this crypto? This is why, I mean, God, everything about crypto just screams it just does. I mean, it's a currency which can increase its own value by throwing sex toys on the floor of a WNBA game. That's not a real thing. That's just a bunch of drunk deed bras who are sitting around. Someone found out this guy had this. So I'm going to guess there's going to be some questions on, who exactly blabbed this person had. Well, by the counts of it, at least $72,000 worth of cryptocurrency. As the father and Isaiah Garcia were returning to Grant, the couple's son was able to call 911 with officers allegedly passing Isaiah Garcia on their way to the scene, forcing him to park the vehicle and flee the area on foot. Police imposed a shelter-in-place in Code Red that night in surrounding areas, causing the cancellation of the homecoming football game at Matamita High School. The shelter-in-place was lifted once it emerged that the two men had left the area. Police were put onto the Garcia's scent. Okay. One, okay, no. Two, are you implying the police are dogs? Come on. They were able to follow the Garcias. They found a suitcase near the scene of the kidnapping, which contained the AR-15 rifle and receipt from an order at Wendy's in Roseville 2 days earlier. Oh, man. That's, I like a good double, man. Those are not bad. And the Frosties, they're pretty good. I don't know if I'd rob somebody their cryptocurrency for it, though. Investigators were able to identify the vehicle associated with the order, a white sedan rented from Houston, Texas, with cameras in the area then showing the vehicle near the home of Isaiah Garcia in Waller, Texas. Police were also able to determine that Raymond Garcia rented a room. They got caught because they went to Wendy's. Nicely done. They rented a room in a Motel 6 in the Twin Cities days before the kidnappings, the same day the men ordered food from Wendy's. I'd like to commend the tireless efforts of our detectives and our local state and police and federal public safety partners, said Washington County Sheriff Dan Starry. Their unwavering commitment to justice has brought resolution to the traumatizing criminal act, and most importantly, has powered the measure of peace and family affected. So this is, the first thing you would think of is, and this is, and I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to think through this as a detective. Maybe someone in the family blabbed to somebody about all the crypto money they had, but clearly that doesn't sound like the case. It sounds like these guys came up from Texas with the specific intent of robbing this individual. Crypto, man. I am not buying it. I do not. Nope. I'm glad everyone is safe. And, once again, there's some outstanding detective work, tracking down the receipt, getting the Wendy's, finding the vehicle, basically tracking it down to Texas and finding these two clown cars. Send them up here and throw them in jail for a while. A Minneapolis man, here's another one on, this is on the Cristo Rey Jesuit High School shooting. They have made an arrest here. A Minneapolis man, and by the way, this guy, the whole crew here, the three of them that have been arrested here, They charged in connection with the mass shooting that left one person dead, 600 injured late August near Cristo Rey Jesuit High School. Travian Alvin Green, 24, faces 1 count of second-degree murder and 6 counts of attempted second-degree murder. He had a warrant out for his arrest, was taken into custody Monday around 10:45 p.m. when officers located him in downtown Minneapolis near Target Center, according to the MPD. Gregory Sweeten, 35, was shot in the head when Green allegedly opened fire just before 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, August 26, at a group of people standing on a sidewalk near the intersection of Clinton Avenue and East 29th in the Phillips neighborhood. Sweeten died at the scene. 2 accomplices had already been charged with aiding an offender in the shooting. Ryan Timothy Quinn, 33, and Tiffany Lynn Marie Martindale, 30. Quinn and Martindale, which sounds like a production team that puts out game shows. Quinn and Martindale are accused of picking up Green and Quinn's vehicle, driving him to the scene of the shooting, and then dropping him off on the city's north side afterwards. So they were there. They knew he shot people, and they took him and gave him a ride. And they helped him. Technically, they helped him flee. So put them in jail for a while, too. This mass shooting outside of an occupied school had a chilling impact on the entire community. I'm deeply grateful for everyone who contributed to this investigation, said Police Chief O'Hara in the statement. We hope that bringing the shooter to the held accountable for his actions will begin to provide a sense of justice for the victims and their families. The shooting happened a day before the mass shooting at Annunciation Church and School in South Minneapolis, which resulted in the deaths of 2 children and injures to 21 people. Green is being held in Hennepin County Jail, where bail is set at $2 million. He's scheduled to return to court October 21st, though it's unclear if he has an attorney yet. From an earlier story about this, it sounds like Martindale, the woman, they were able. There's obviously more to this story, because there was communication between the shooter, Green, and Martindale, and they were able to track him down. So I don't know if this was a targeted hit or what was the case, but definitely this, and like I said, they drove him down to the scene. They've shot the people. They immediately drove away. Glad they caught these two clowns, and then they were able to build the case against the shooter, Green, in the case. So good. Once again, some very quality police work. Very happy about that. I also wanted to give this update. So we had a question yesterday, and when Brett and I were talking, and Patrick was talking too, about this daycare down in Savage, because there was something about the story which kind of raised alarms, which was they wanted everyone who was at the daycare to be on alert for any type of behavioral changes or breathing issues. I think they were, there was kind of some weird things that they had kind of put out there, and it wasn't clear. I mean, we've had cases in the past where people have gotten hold of drugs, in both legal and illegal drugs, in a daycare environment and gotten sick or died. It sounded like that, but it wasn't very clear. So yeah, it was confusing. State and local authorities are investigating the circumstances around a child's death at the daycare facility in Savage on Monday. The city spokesperson confirmed that Savage police are jointly investigating the death at Rocking Horse Ranch Child Care with the Minneapolis Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Investigators haven't released many details about what happened, but say an infant died at the facility and an autopsy has been ordered to determine the cause of death. Additionally, police say families with children who attend Rocking Horse Ranch, located off Louisiana Avenue South near 149th Street, should closely monitor their children and seek immediate medical attention if they exhibit altered mental status, unusual behavioral changes, or concerning symptoms. Police aren't releasing any other details at this time, but ask anyone with information that could aid their investigation to call the local police down there in Savage. The Minnesota Department of Children, Youth, and Families suspended Rocking Horse Ranch's child care license on Tuesday afternoon, saying they determined the children served by the program are in the immediate risk of harm. They said they was notified, this is the Department of Children and Youth and Families, of 2 instances of EMS being called to the facility for infants in distress on Friday and on Monday. One of them was the infant who died. So, once again, I'm going to say this is speculation. We don't know. It sounds like illicit drugs. Now, or I should say, it sounds like drugs. Could it be a drug that's an over-the-counter drug and someone just gave it the wrong drug and sort of thing, or something it somehow got mixed in with something? Maybe. We have to determine. But we have also had multiple cases where, and I can't remember, was it a year and a half ago, or the daycare had fentanyl. Someone had fentanyl on them. It dropped on the floor when the kids got it, and I believe that child died. So, this is. It does not sound, as we kind of speculated yesterday, that there is an exterior health issue, like there could be some sort of disease which was warning the rest of the community. It seems like it's only just necessarily for the kids that were at that daycare, but needless to say, that daycare is now shut down and a full investigation is ongoing. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Reminder, Sasha Colby tickets, we're going to be giving those away a little bit later on. Let's take a break right now. 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since 94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Your time is precious. Why are you still mowing your own lawn? I'm Alex Knorr, a young, hard-working entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. At Buzzcut Mowing, I offer weekly mowing, leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I work hard so you can relax and enjoy time with family and friends. Call today and I'll handle the rest. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. Let us help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977. Hi, this is Laura with Food Freedom Radio, and I invite you to discover 2 local grocery stores with a global fare. Market Fresh, south of Rosedale, carries fresh vegetables, quality meats, seafood, and a wide variety of grocery staples, all in a welcoming store. Shanghai Wholesale Market is in the St. Paul Midway area, and it's a food warehouse open to the public. Shanghai Wholesale carries more than 500 types of noodles. And frankly, it's time for Minnesotans to learn that pasta is a little bit more than spaghetti noodles and tuna casserole. There's sweet potato, bean, rice, fresh, frozen, rye. It's a paradise for those seeking gluten-free pasta. Also, both Market Fresh and Shanghai Wholesale Market seek to buy local, so you can look for local quail eggs, unique cheeses, and Minnesota-made tofu. Open the door to food abundance. Discover Market Fresh, your local Asian food store just south of Rosedale, and Shanghai Wholesale Market, your local international food warehouse north of Menards in the St. Paul Midway area.
I was thinking about my time in space. I was thinking about the human race.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Oh, let's give away some tickets. Sasha Colby is going to be over at the Fillmore, Minneapolis. Of course, the drag season 15 winner from RuPaul's Drag Race. The Strip 2 tour is coming on October 9th at the Fillmore in Minneapolis. Once again, I got 2 pair of tickets right now. Caller 5, caller 6. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Callers 5 and caller 6, you'll both get yourself a pair of tickets to go see Sasha Colby. The Strip 2 tour coming to the Fillmore October 9th. Good luck. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. All right. I am going to get into a conversation here that I do need to get into. And I know that what I'm about to say and what I'm about to break into here is probably going to upset some people. And I can understand that. But I have to have this discussion because I don't want to see the Democratic Party stab themselves in the foot after they've shot themselves, after they've fallen down 15 freaking flights of stairs anymore. And what is amazing to me is how the Democrats constantly get played by the right and yet fail to at least acknowledge this is what's happening. Now, yesterday, I talked about the story from The Racket about Angie Craig going to this cryptocurrency thing. What is it? A weekend of blockchain symposium for the elite out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming for the American Prospect. Tickets to the August event cost up to $10,000. Hotel rooms going as much as $1,000 a night. Guest in attendance included Eric Trump, the president's son, White House PR guy Anthony Scaramucci, Federal Reserve Governor Michelle Bowman, and Angie Craig. Angie Craig was the only prominent Democrat that was there at this crypto symposium. Was the only one. And I haven't seen that someone said that she was there to try to keep an eye on things, but I don't think you need to go to this to know what's going on. I mean, you can see what's going on with this insanity of crypto. So I made the point, and this is, I posted that story, and I said this last night. I get the strong feeling that if Angie wins a national office again, 20 seconds after she lands in D.C., she'll announce she is leaving the Democratic Party and either becoming a Republican or an independent. That has warranted a pretty good amount of smack back on me. But I'm not pulling back on that because Democrats Democrats are trying to play checkers, while the Republicans, when it comes to keeping control, are playing freaking Vulcan chess on top of Vulcan chess, on top of cones of Dunshire. I mean, they are playing an incredibly complicated game, and it's a lot of different things, but they are doing it, and it's all these parts move individually, but yet as part of a machine. And whether that's the control of news media, whether that's the control of social media, whether that's the unbelievable money advantage they have, they do a lot of different things. And one of the things that they have done is, as a fail-safe, torpedoed the Democratic Party from within. Now, I've talked about what I call stray cat Democrats, the Joe Manchins, the Kristen Sinemas. These are people who say they're Democrats, who proudly take Democratic money, run under the Democratic banner. But when I talk about them being stray cat Democrats, what that means is once every 2 weeks, they show up the Democrats' front door, have a saucer of milk, and the Democrats say, that's our cat. And then they don't see him again for 2 weeks because that cat is actually spending a lot more time with other people. That is a stray cat Democrat. They're only a Democrat when it's convenient for them. And a lot of the times, they're a fairly reliable Republican vote. I've said it's easy for these people to recruit them because, and here's another analogy I've used in the past. Think about the two political parties as two big fields where on one side are Democrats and one side are the Republicans. And if you're a moderate Democrat, you look way over on the other side of the field and you see, Bernie Sanders and AOC and Jasmine Crockett. Meanwhile, you look to your right and there on the other side of the fence are a handful of Republicans. And the first thing they say to themselves is, oh, they're a lot closer to me than those guys way over there. I'd be better off with them. Not appreciating the fact that the Republicans want to annihilate the Democratic Party, period. They want us gone. They do not want to give up power ever again. And so any idea of I'm working with them because there's going to be some sort of new middle of the country sort of thing. No. I mean, take a look. I said this with Stein. It took literally them going after the First Amendment and yanking people off the air because Donald Trump's personal boo-boo kitty feelings got hurt by Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, no. And that's how you get to this point. It took that level of egregious behavior for the Republicans to finally say, yeah, maybe that's not the best case. Or them out there screaming, don't take Tylenol because it's going to give you autism. And even the doctors who are Republicans are like, oh, that's not exactly true. That's the extreme. So they're not going to come on over to. And as a matter of fact, I've always made this point about these moderate Democrats who, I love working with the other side. Well, when is the other side ever going to freaking work with the Democrats? That's supposed to be a two-way street. Only you constantly give them your vote, and you never ask for their vote in return, nor do they offer it. I can't remember the last time 4 moderate Republicans said, you know what? Well, maybe they could. Well, maybe the censuring of Ilhan Omar. But once again, if that's the extreme you have to get to, it doesn't happen that often. And I don't know necessarily if any of those moderate Democrats were out there saying, hey, come on, we got to save Ilhan Omar. I don't think they were. They're probably saying, hey, maybe she needs to be put in her place. I don't know. Needless to say, moderate Democrats are being recruited by big wealth people to basically torpedo the party from within. That was Joe Manchin. That's Kristen Sinema. Sinema didn't even wait weeks until this. I'll go with Fetterman, too. I think Fetterman's part of that group. They buy a senator, and all of a sudden it becomes far more difficult for the Democrats to get things done because they're that senator that's always voting to not overturn the filibuster. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. And they do this in front of everyone. I mean, they clearly buy these people off. I mean, Joe Manchin was in the pocket of Big Pharma. I mean, they clearly are buying these people off to torpedo the Democratic Party from within. But now the Sinema and Manchin are gone. You got Fetterman there. How much longer he's going to be there, I don't think he'll survive a primary in Pennsylvania. And so they're looking around as like, who else can we get? And if I am them looking to recruit somebody, one of the first names I'm going to look down on is say, oh, that Angie Craig, she basically might be one of the people that we can do work with on this. I'll tell you what, let me take a break. Come back. Let me talk more. Now, I'm not saying that that is definitively where she's at, but I'm concerned that she is definitely going to be the target of that. More on that when I do come back. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
This is Alex Knorr from Buzz Cut Mowing, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. I take the hard work off your plate with weekly mowing. I also offer leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I'll keep your lawn beautiful so you can enjoy your weekends with the people who matter most. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Twin Cities Con returns to the Minneapolis Convention Center for their 5th year, November 7th through the 9th. Twin Cities Con is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. There's nothing like Twin Cities Con. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall and artist alley for the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Twin Cities Con is bigger and better than before. Come see from the Star Wars universe Ahmad Best, Rosario Dawson and Giancarlo Esposito, Brendan Fraser, and the cast of The Mummy, WWE Wrestling Hall of Famers Sting and Mick Foley, and the voice actors from the hit Disney series Phineas and Ferb, plus more guests to be announced. 3 days of action-packed fun in the heart of Minneapolis at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Tickets start at $50. Kids' tickets are just $10 for the entire weekend. VIP tickets also available, including a 3-day weekend pass, plus some really cool VIP perks. More guests will be announced. Buy your tickets and get more information at TwinCitiesCon.com.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP, or visit snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 74. Tonight, clear with a low around 56. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 80. Don't miss Sasha Colby's Stripped 2 Tour, an electrifying blend of dance, storytelling, and drag artistry at the Fillmore, Minneapolis on October 9th. Listen all week to The Gailey Show and The Matt McNeil Show for chances to win tickets. You can also purchase tickets at thefillmoreminneapolis.com. That's thefillmoreminneapolis.com. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. By the way, we gave away one pair of those tickets there to, who did we give them away to there, Patrick?
Congratulations, Mary. You're on your way to see Sasha Colby.
Congratulations, Mary. You get to go see Sasha Colby. Once again, this is at the Fillmore, October 9th. As a matter of fact, actually, I misread this. I got 2 more pairs of tickets to give away right now. 2 more pairs of tickets to give away right now. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Callers number 5 and 6, again, you'll each get a pair of tickets to go see Sasha Colby. This is the Stripped 2 Tour. It's at the Fillmore, October 9th. Of course, you can get your tickets now at 5, caller 5, caller 6, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. So, as I'm explaining, we have this problem with the right basically buying off 1 or 2 moderate Democrats in the Senate to torpedo the Democratic Party from within. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, Fetterman, I think, is also on that case. And so I'm very wary of incredibly moderate Democrats going in because this is the game plan. You go in there and you wine them and dine them, and it's like, you're not really close to AOC. You're far more closer to Susan Collins. You probably have much more in common there. So, I mean, all you have to, just sure on the 1 or 2 core issues, vote Democrat, but you're going to have a lot more power if you vote with the Republicans. And like I said, it's this crazy argument that the moderate Democrats put out there. It's like, we are reaching across the aisle, but the other side of the aisle never freaking reaches across to us. Ever. That is a one-way street, which means that's not, bipartisan. It's you're a dupe and you're voting for Republican stuff. You're a reliable Republican vote. That's what that is. Angie Craig, I've not mixed my words. I was incredibly disappointed in her campaign last year. And because of the impact, the reason we have, in my mind, the reason we have a tie in the Minnesota House right now is because of Angie Craig. Amy Klobuchar's race was never close. She easily won re-election. And so the focus in the metro area became the Angie Craig race. And what was the campaign that she ran? I really don't like Joe Biden. I proudly vote against Joe Biden and join the Republicans. Blah, 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 blah. I'm pro-GOP. I'm pro, didn't she vote for the Lake and Riley Act and stuff? Yeah, I've seen that. She proudly ran, frankly, as a moderate Republican. And because of that, she poisoned the water hole, and hence we lost a few other seats in that election that we probably shouldn't have. And this has been a part of a disturbing pattern where all of us have to understand, I've got to work with Republicans. I'm not saying that. I mean, everyone that goes to the Congress says on the Democrat side feels like occasionally they have to work with the Republicans, but at the expense of your own party. And that's what I hear a lot, as I will throw my own party under the bus if I need to, because I'd rather look bipartisan than loyal. Now, this is not just something with all moderate Democrats. No, there's a lot of, Governor Walz is the consummate example of that. Governor Walz is a moderate Democrat who basically in 2023, when all those bills came across his desk, he signed all but one. There are some moderate Democrats that understand the value of the party, but we have to understand that the money machine behind the Republicans is looking for dupes to target. And they want to, and they will pour money at Democrats that they can get to basically stab their own party in the foot whenever they need them to. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, and Fetterman. So that's why I say I've got real concerns, because Angie Craig has all the benchmarks of a politician, a potential senator who the money people on the right would dramatically target. And by the way, this whole crypto thing does not belie my concerns. As a matter of fact, flaring red flags are going off right now. You're the only Democrat that goes to the crypto thing where in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where it's all these wealthy Republicans, including Eric Trump. Yes, I am concerned about what her motivations really are. Also, I see her running around in outstate Minnesota. She's mainly campaigning in outstate Minnesota, not completely, but she's spending a lot of time outstate. And from people that have apparently seen her at events and seen her around a little bit, that there is, this mentality of I work with Republicans. I want to find bipartisan solutions. Fine. All right. Now, I put this out there, and a few people have had some problems with this because, once again, Angie Craig does have a lot of supporters, and I get that, and I understand that. But I'm not making crap up, dude. I mean, like I said, I've seen this all play out in the past, and I don't want to send somebody to D.C. for 6 years and just sit there and say, "Oh my God, I was concerned about that." But people have said, "Matt, come on, no, she's a huge supporter of labor." Well, that's fine. So's Peggy Flanagan. Neutral. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not like, are you implying that Peggy Flanagan's not? So if you're looking at the two main candidates, they both seem to be pretty big on labor. I guess the question is where I would feel different if, now I will say this, that somebody sent me a note on Facebook where I'm mainly taking the heat for this, that she was at it looks like she was at a fundraiser for the, I'm trying to find it there. Where did it go? There we go. It was, this is a post from Angie Craig. It's great. This is from 5 hours ago. It was great to see so many friends' faces at the DFL LGBTQ caucus fundraiser last night, especially special guest LGBTQ civil rights advocate Brandon Wolf. The caucus is supporting some great candidates up and down the ballot and could use your help. And it looks nice. I mean, nice little photo. Looks like they're at somebody's house. And once again, it's a caucus fundraiser. So it's probably not exactly a big event, but, hopefully they raised a lot of money. I believe in the LGBTQ population. But see, that's the thing. When's Angie going to have a big public event for transgender rights? Or to vow that no sulfide mining will happen on the Iron Range while she is a senator? Or we're going to bring single-payer health care to the masses? Or a ban on assault weapons that are used to slaughter our children? Where are those rallies? And I know that there's going to be a level of, they're going to probably be incensed by me saying this over at the Angie Craig camp, but give me something here. I mean, it's nice you're an LGBTQ fundraiser for the caucus. That's fine. But getting out there and saying, I'm proudly going to support transgender rights and I will stop the open discrimination against the transgender community. Now, that's saying something. And I have a bad feeling one of the reasons why you don't is because she doesn't want to have to answer questions about this liberal stuff. I do not want another Democrat in the Senate who's going to be a stray cat Democrat, who's only going to show up on the Democrats' doorstep in the most dire situations, who's constantly telling me, like, I like to reach across the aisle, and yet never ask the other side of the aisle to reach back to the Democrats. That does not happen. And that's the great lie about this whole I like to reach across the aisle crap. They don't, what they're saying is, I will gladly, that's what it is. It's what they're saying is, I, as a Democrat, will abandon my own party and vote with the Republicans on a moment's notice. And I will never require any of them to actually have to vote for a Democratic policy ever. I'm not fooling you, though. The Republicans, they're scouring. If they feel as if they are going to lose a lot of seats in the Senate, and right now, things aren't looking too good for them. If it looks like they're going to lose some seats in the Senate, and at the very least, the Democrats are going to take over, they desperately need to make sure 2 or 3 of those Democrats are far more loyal to the Republican causes than the Democratic causes. And I've mentioned Fetterman. He clearly seems to be somewhat compromised. I don't think any of us, we pretty much knew that Sinema and Manchin were Republican votes. And it's hilarious to watch Joe Manchin insist today I was a moderate. Said, dude, moderate means half the time you voted with the Democrats, and he wasn't even close. He wasn't even close. On 1 or 2 issues, he was a reliable vote, but a lot of other times he was voting, most of the time he was voting with the Republicans. Sinema as well. I don't think it's too much of a requirement that the Democrats I want to represent me vote with the Democratic Party at least 85% of the time, because I'm voting for Democrats because I believe in the Democratic platform, not because I want somebody to tell me I don't like Joe Biden and I'm working with the other side of the aisle. So I can understand, to the people out there that are Angie Craig fans, you not being happy with me. I apologize. I'm sorry, but I am sure as heck not going to sit back and ignore this big problem that the Democrats have had, which happens with consistency, which happens in front of our faces. And we sort of sit there and say, I want Democrats who are first and foremost Democrats. Don't tell me how many Republicans you have on speed dial. Tell me what core Democratic issues you will fight to the death for to make sure they stay right. You are replacing Tina Smith. I love Tina Smith. Senator Tina Smith is, when she went up to Senator Lee after Melissa Hortman was assassinated, and you saw her putting her finger right in his face and basically, bleep, 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 bleep. Mwah! Senator, salute. You are one of my favorites, man. We need to name a battleship after that, Senator. Absolutely. So what I don't want to replace her with is a senator who is going to say, well, I'd like to go after that Republican for saying something atrocious like that, but I need to work with them on a bill, and they might let me sit next to them in the senatorial lunchroom. Nope, 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 nope. So please, Angie, at any point, start showing me your progressive credentials. Show me, don't even show me show me your base Democratic credentials. Have that press conference, have that thing where I will stand, I will fight mining in the North. I will fight for single payer health care. I want to stop assault weapons from killing our kids. Give us that. Because until you do, all I see is someone going to crypto conferences, man. And that crypto thing, that is a Huge, massive red flag right now. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. The Matt McNeil Show here on your Wednesday.
Hi, Penny here from Nightingale in Minneapolis. Exciting news. During the warmer months, we're extending our charm to the patio. Imagine savoring your favorite dishes outside, surrounded by the lively energy of South Minneapolis near 26th and Lindale. And guess what? Nightingale's patio is not just a dining space. It's also dog-friendly. Craft cocktails, curated wines, and half-price bottles of wine on Mondays are still part of the deal. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a full menu until midnight. Join us at Nightingale where good times and great flavors come together.
This year, the adventure is calling louder than ever before. Craft your own magic at the Wicked Wand Workshop. Race for glory at the Ninja Warrior Challenge. Or battle for honor at the Viking Invasion. Plus, enjoy classic favorites like live armored combat jousting or slay your hunger with tasty turkey legs. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival is back with new adventures. Get your tickets now at renaissancefest.com. Huzzah!
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hey, it's Tom. There's a war being waged on clean energy. A bill in Congress could eliminate the 30% federal tax credit for solar by the end of 2025. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Fossil fuel giants and their MAGA friends in Washington want to kill green energy. But you can fight back. Going solar with All Energy Solar isn't just smart, it's a form of resistance. You choose where your money goes, not to utility companies, not to fossil fuel billionaires, but toward clean, renewable power for your home. A system from All Energy Solar works in Minnesota year-round because it runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the dead of winter, you're generating electricity. And All Energy Solar helps you save with every rebate and incentive available. This is the moment to act. Waiting means risking with this tax credit and giving the upper hand to MAGA Republicans. So get your free consultation today at allenergysolar.com and take back your power.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for sunny skies today with a high near 74. Tonight, clear with a low around 56. And Thursday, sunny with a high around 80. Looking for a cozy neighborhood bar and restaurant in Minneapolis? Nightingale serves delicious American classics like their famous Nightingale Burger, ginger tamari chicken wings, and more. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with takeout available. Visit nightingalempls.com for details.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. All right, let's talk about it because once again, because this does make me very angry. The amount of evil people who are ransacking programs designed to help needy people and stealing taxpayer dollars. And once again, Democrats, from here on out, if you pass any of these bills, you have to have some sort of basic due diligence involved with this, because it's clear that people are definitively looking to rip off this country and will basically do it to take any way possible. Federal prosecutors on Wednesday announced charges against a woman accused of defrauding a Minnesota program that offers autism treatment services as part of a sprawling scheme where simultaneously raking in money from another massive fraud investigation, the Feeding Our Future case. Court filings charged one count of wire fraud against Asha Farhan Hassan, 28, detailed an alleged plot to collect millions in fraudulent proceeds through her company, Smart Therapy LLC, which she enrolled in Minnesota's early intensive developmental and behavioral intervention program. The EIDBI benefit is funded by the state and federal money to serve people under 21 with autism spectrum disorder. The charges allow the FBI raid of Smart Therapy Center in Minneapolis and the Star Autism Center in St. Cloud last December following an investigation. The EIDBI related fraud that overlapped with the massive Feeding Our Future fraud and conspiracy. The charges allege Hassan enrolled Smart Therapy in the program, as well as the federal child nutrition program meant to feed hungry children during the COVID-19 pandemic, under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. The nonprofit, according to the prosecutors, is at the center of a $250 million food fraud case. Court filings say from 2019 to 2024, Hassan and her partners received more than $14 million in reimbursements from the Minnesota Department of Human Services, the EIDBI program, and UCare insurance carrier by submitting claims for autism services that often were not provided or not covered. Prosecutors said the split in proceeds with her partners and sent hundreds of thousands of dollars abroad, including to a real estate in Kenya. The Minnesota Star Tribune has reached out to Hassan's attorney, the Department of Human Services, and UCare for comment. The charging documents that Hassan and others recruited families in the Somali community to enroll in smart therapy, even if their child did not have autism. To ramp up enrollment, Hassan said her partners divvied up monthly kickback payments to parents ranging from $300 to $1,500 per month to enroll their children in the program, according to court records. There was no child that smart therapy was not able to get qualified for autism services. Parents often threatened to take their children to other autism centers if they did not receive higher kickbacks from smart therapy. Now, guys, once again, Democrats, I get it. You're pie in the sky dreamers, and you look at this stuff and it's like, we're making a difference. And I get it. But you're not really making a difference when you create basically a program which is so ripe for fraud that people are lining up to see which company they're going to defraud the state with. Who's going to give me the bigger kickback? And you say, well, we don't want to create shame hoops. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, is the business actually doing the thing that they say they're doing? That's not being nosy. That's called good governance. And there's just way too much of this stuff where you guys, you pat yourself on the back and say, we did it. And you don't think about what other people are going to do. I'm not making excuses. These people are freaking criminals. Lock their asses up. Get that Kenya money, property, sell it and give the money back to the taxpayers. I don't care how you do it, but do it. Those are the criminals. But they're only in existence because of people whose best intentions didn't factor in the fact there are just some amazing jackasses on this planet who will look to rip off anyone they possibly can. I'm going to leave you. Where is it? Okay. I got positive. One more minute here. Positive news. A 12-year-old girl who's been in the hospital for weeks after she was shot during the attack at the Annunciation Catholic Church is making progress, preparing to move to an inpatient rehabilitation program later this week. Sophia Fortress was shot in the left temple lobe during an attack that killed 2 children and injured 21. Her surgeon originally told reporters he initially considered any hope for her recovery a miracle. Sophia spent over 2 weeks in critical condition before she was elevated to serious condition on September 11th. She was last remaining victim in critical condition. We're thrilled to share that Sophia continues to make steady progress through showing promising signs of neurological recovery, her family said in a statement on Monday. Though she is still a long journey ahead filled with extensive therapy, her resilience continues to inspire hope on every step. On behalf of our entire family, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to everyone near and far, and to the continued prayers and the outpouring of love and tremendous support to our precious Sophia. Sophia, all my best, and to the family, all my best there. All my best and prayers to you. And by hopefully you're getting all the help you need. Please continue to make donations to those people that did get injured there. Native Roots Radio is up next. We're back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown,